Welcome, and here we go again. And today I will be talking about what my ideal Doctor Who Series 13 would look like. Now, Series 12 seems like quite a long time ago now, even though it wasn't that long ago, it was only 2 months ago. But today, for the final video of April, I will be here bringing you my insight into what I think Series 13 should look like. Now, we don't know when Series 13 is going to come out. It's going to be a while away, and there's going to be many videos coming out on this channel about it. But my first ever video, talking about Series 13, will be covering my hopes and expectations. Personally, just as a catch-up, I didn't like Series 11, and I liked Series 12. But Series 12 is far from perfect, and it's far from the quality of a lot of the seasons from before Series 11. So I will. I'll start by saying that Jodie. I'm going to go with what I want from Jodie. Now, the 13th Doctor really improved in Series 11. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted because there's some big plane or something. Anyway, the 13th Doctor really grew on me in Series 12. She wasn't great in Series 11, I didn't think, but I liked how they brought much more darker persona towards her, a darker streak, if you like, of her character, which was really nice to see, and I've been wanting to see that all the way through Series 11. So first of all, on that matter, I would like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor to maintain that darker streak and to continue to characterise her Doctor in that approach. Have her turn towards the darkness, have her do some risky things, and, continue that path of development. I think, although I was pleased by the approach they took towards Jodie's Doctor, and particularly the acting from Jodie last series, I was not fond of moments where Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was discovering something huge, like Timeless Child, and then just turn back to normal, just back to that sort of jovial, quirky self. And I think there's still elements of that character they need to improve. I think there needs to be more consistency there, more solidarity within the character. I think Jodie's doing a great job. Sometimes the writing still isn't great for the Doctor, and sometimes there's still a few annoying moments. But I think they struck the balance with Jodie's Doctor quite well last series, but I'd like to continue them on that path and continue her character arc in a very interesting way. I think this should be Jodie's last series as the Doctor. I don't think she should be in Series 14 or whatever lies after that. If this is Chibnall's last series, I don't know, but I think it should be Jodie's last series. I think Jodie and Chris will leave together anyway. But I have a feeling that this will be Jodie's last series because most Doctors stick to three series. I just think, there's not a great deal you could do with Jodie's Doctor. I personally, I think we've solved quite a lot of her character aspects so far. And we will have done most, if not all of them, by this time next series. So I think Jodie should regenerate in either the Series 13 finale or the next episode after that. So I think, personally, it would be quite nice to get a surprise regeneration that we didn't see coming. I know that's unlikely, but with this big secrecy that's going on, I think it would be lovely if we got surprise regeneration. We didn't know who the next Doctor was beforehand, and they really pulled the biggest shock ever on us. I know we've had times where, like in Stolen Earth and Impossible Astronaut, where the Doctor's regenerated or died, and they've found a way out of it. They've found a way to continue that Doctor's era. I think it would be nice if we surprisingly, at the moment we least expect it, regenerated Jodie's Doctor into, say, Jo Martin's Doctor. And on that matter, I'd like to discuss Jo Martin. I think the Ruth Doctor really needs to be a big part of Series 13. I wasn't a fan of the way she appeared in the series finale, The Timeless Children. It was very disappointing. I was hoping we would see her again in the Series 12 finale. Sadly, we didn't, and that was a great shame for me. I thought Jodie's Doctor was great, and her chemistry with Ruth was great, and I think it would have been nice if we got to see that chemistry a bit more in the Series 12 finale. I don't think Ruth's done, and I'd like to see her appear a few times through Series 13. Not overdoing her, and I don't think she should appear in the special, but I'd like to see her once more, at least, in quite a significant role. Maybe in the Series 13 finale, I don't know, maybe in whatever Jodie's final episode is, or, like I said in a previous video, if she actually becomes the next Doctor. It would be lovely to see her in some great capacity in the future. And if Chibnall's done with the Ruth Doctor, with all the hanging threads and all the little mysteries that go on with her character, then he's very done. But I think I have a feeling that we will see the Ruth Doctor quite a bit more in Jodie's era, and I have a feeling we'll see her at least once during the Series 13. Jack, Captain Jack. We believe he appears in Revolution of the Daleks, but we're talking about Series 13 here. I think it would be nice to see Jack become a very significant part of Jodie's era, especially after he was set up in Fugitive of the Doom. And because Chris Chibnall has managed to characterise his character so well on Torchwood, and it seemed to be like he characterised this character well during those few minutes that we saw in Fugitive of the Doom. I can't pronounce that title and I'm saying it quick. But yeah, I think it would be nice to see him pop up as sort of a guest companion like he did in Christopher Eccleston's era and like he did in David Tennant's era, where in Christopher Eccleston's era he joined the Doctor and Rose for the second half of Series 1. I don't want to see him as a full companion. I don't want to see him in the whole series, even though that would be, it would be nice if that happened, but I don't necessarily want that. I want to see him in a couple of stories, 2, 3, 4 stories, maybe in the latter half of Series 13, travelling with the Doctor and whatever companions may bring. That's the matter of companions. Companions is quite a significant thing because we believe that Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole are leaving in Revolution of the Daleks. I don't think they're going to officially announce that. I think they're going to have a surprise exit. I think because of all the secrecy that's going on, which I love, maintain that next series. I think we will continue to get that secrecy, and I think the two will leave away from our knowledge. But I think there's rumour which has Mandeep Gill is staying as Yaz. Now, I personally, this is my ideal Series 13. So personally, I think 1 or 2 new companions should join, and Yaz, Graham and Ryan should all leave. I would personally, if I was doing the ideal Series 13, I would have companions which mixed it up a bit. I'd have ideally 1 companion, but potentially 2. And if Yaz is joining in, then hopefully they'll bring in a new one as well to spice it up, but not 2 new ones. So yeah, I'd like to see a companion from the past, the future, or from an alien planet. Something that can challenge us more, or even maybe a Time Lord companion, a survivor of the decimation of Gallifrey. It would be really nice to see them mix up that archetype of companions from the 21st century. It seems to be that 21st century women are the stereotypical companions that we choose for New Who. And I'd like to go, I think the Doctor travels all across the universe, all across time. It'd be nice to get some different companions. And you can still make them relatable. It's more interesting seeing their reactions to everything, especially if they're from the past or the future or an alien world. And it's even more interesting because, their perceptions of things are different to ours, and their perceptions of what the present day would look like would be weird. So I'd love that. I'd love a a historical or a future companion, or an alien companion, or two. So villains wise, I would bring back the Sontarans and the Weeping Angels. Now, I think there's reasons towards this. I bring back the Sontarans because they are pretty cool villains in Classic Who. However, they've been really poorly executed during New Who. So I'd love to restore that threat of the Sontarans, restore that power of the Sontaran Empire, and that would be really nice. The Weeping Angels, I think as long as they have a good plot line for them, it would be lovely to bring the Weeping Angels back into the show. What villains they bring back is all dependent on Chris Chibnall, whether he leaves this series or whether he doesn't. My ideal Series 13 would involve him leaving. But yeah, Sontarans and Weeping Angels would be some of my top picks. Other picks, Sea Devils, the Rani, the Meddling Monk, the other things. They could do. There's the Sea Devils, obviously, Crinoids, stuff like that. I'd love to see those sort of villains back in the show. And I'd love to see some more obscure villains. But personally, I think they could go with the Sontarans and Weeping Angels. I think I'm going to do a video at some point about some of the villains that I'd like to see in Series 13 and the remainder of the Chibnall era. But yeah, those would be great villains. Story arc wise, I would like to see a story arc where the Doctor seeks out her race. I think it would be a bit of a cheek if they didn't show the aftermath of the Timeless Child reveal and the effect that it has on the Doctor. I know there's been some controversy about it, and I'm sure in a few years' time they'll probably retcon all of this. But I think it would be a bit of a cheek to sort of pretend this didn't happen, and I think we should show a bit of the effect. Maybe, I mean, there's ways to work around this without annoying many people, which obviously this era, anything it does, it will annoy someone. But there's ways to work around it so that that basic idea remains the same, but it becomes less annoying and it's more complex than we believed. So there's ways to work around it, but I think if they just leave it like that, that reveal is going to be pointless. It's going to be, when you look back at the Timeless Child, it's just going to be an episode which you think, oh, this only focuses on sort of the past, and if you don't like the reveal, ruining the past, rather than looking at what the show could do in the future. It only reflects on the past before the time we didn't know the Doctor. And if Series 13 doesn't touch on this reveal a great deal, it will be pointless. So I'd love to see the Doctor go on a search for answers about some of the missing stuff in the Timeless Child, because there was a whole section missing from the archive, and it would be lovely to see her go on a mission for that. And also to bump into some of her own kind. I think it would be lovely if she faced this sort of morale crisis because her race turned out to be villains. Maybe she encounters some of her kind and they turn out to be the villains of the big Series 13 finale. And maybe the Doctor and the Master unite. Now, I haven't discussed the Master yet because I think I'm going to do a whole video on that. Which you may be confused by, but I've got some ideas there. So yeah, I'd love to see the Doctor seeking out her race and being pitted against her race. And it would be nice to discover some more truths while trying to shroud some of that mystery about her newfound kind. More two-parters. I'd like more two-parters, please. More multi-story things. And if I was doing a ideal Series 13, I'd have a sort of basis around the story arc. I'd have, rather than having absolutely standalone adventures, I'd have at least some relevance towards the arc in each story. Because in the Chibnall era, the story arc seems to be the strength, but the standalone episodes seem to often be the weakness. And with the RTD and Moffat eras, they often built stories around the story arc. This time, a lot of the stories. I meant in the RTD and Moffat era, they built the story arc around the stories, but in the Chibnall era, it feels like they're building the stories around the story arc. So it would be nice to see some more relevant episodes, less filler episodes, and a better correlation of organization in terms of the episodes, because often it felt like with episodes like Fugitive to Doom, I can't say that, I don't know why. It was followed by Praxis and Can You Hear Me, and it just felt really lackluster because it didn't reference any of the game-changing stuff that happened previous week. Same with Orphan 55 and Nikola Tesla, although they're slightly different as they referenced those stuff. I think it would have been nice if they changed the placement of the stories around a bit in that particular series. So I think they need to be a bit more careful with how they run the standalone stories and their relevance within the series. I think it'd be nice to get less fillers. How many two-parters would I like? Well, ideally, I'd like at least 2. In a 10-episode series, I think 2's fine. But again, I'd like them to do a sort of mid-series finale again, which has some sort of game-changing thing, because that really worked with Fugitive to Doom. So I need to learn how to say that title. I don't know why I can't say it. Gonna have to say it slowly. Fugitive of the Doom. Anyway, tomorrow on the channel, I will be reviewing Ghostlight, which should be an interesting review. Quite a long video today, but hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave your hopes and expectations for what you'd like to see in Series 13 below. And I'll be back tomorrow from a time here. So please tune in for that. Goodbye all.